So welcome to our inaugural podcast of Through My Lens with Collin Govender. This has been a long time in the making. It's something I've been looking forward to doing. It is really about having a conversation about leadership, about life, about lessons, and actually just about learning. As much as I'm the interviewer here, I'm also really interested in learning a hell of a lot through the process. So join us on this incredible journey. We've got a few amazing guests lined up, but for today we've got Mike Tlhoaele with us. Mike, welcome. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Colin.
I couldn't think of somebody better to be our first guest on this show.
Okay.
We've got an amazing round of guests coming up, but Mike, I mean, you are our first person on the show.
Okay, no, thank you very much, and I'd like to thank Altron to invite me to the podcast. I think we can share some insightful ideas that we've had and how we've worked together going forward.
Perfect.
Yes.
Mike, I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm actually going to read this, just your bio here, because it's quite impressive.
Thank you.
And use it as a kickoff.
Okay, sure. Yes.
So Mike Tlhoaele is the CEO of Impeco. Born and bred in the township in Pretoria, Tlhoaele knows the power that lies in changing a person's situation. I have been helped before. Someone carried me from not knowing what I know to knowing what I know today. I love that statement, by the way.
Yes.
Absolutely love that. In 2018, Tlhoaele was selected as a National Development Plan Ambassador with the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, an initiative to promote young youth entrepreneurship, to boost economic growth and increase employment and reduce poverty and inequality. Derived from his interest in networking and connectivity and his desire to pay it forward, Tlhoaele is not only determined to keep growing, but also to take technology to people who don't have access across South Africa and to connect everyone.
Yes,
I absolutely love that. I mean, if I take a step back and I just consider our purpose here at Altron,
yes,
and us doing the work that we do. I mean, you and I, you've met a few times now, and we've had a lot of dealings with each other. Firstly, Mike, I mean, you're such an inspiration to so many people.
Thank you, Colin. Yes.
I mean, if I talk to the people internally at Altron, and kind of the work that you've done with us up until this point,
Yes.
and the work that you continue to do. I mean, the call that you were just on was helping with one of our customers now.
Yes, yes.
I continue to be impressed by the work that you do. But before we start to get into business, let's get to know who Mike is.
The person behind the name.
The person behind the name, yeah.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
I was born in a township in Pretoria. It's called Garangua. And it being a location, it was hard. It was tough. You in the location, you have the same kind of mindset. You go to the same kind of schools and all of that. So I think coming from there, born and bred there, and I had to shift my mindset a bit, go into places where people are going, but people don't know that are coming from there to say, this is where people are going. This is the direction that we need to be taking. So that's where I was born. And I'm from a family of 8. That is my mom and my dad and my 5 other siblings. So there's about 6 of us, and I'm the last one in the family.
So you're the youngest?
Yes.
Aha. So were you spoiled growing up, or did you have to do all the heavy lifting?
I was not spoiled. Actually, once everyone grows in the family, it means you're the only one who's left. Yeah. So everything comes down to you, and you still have to keep the parents happy.
Yes, of course,
yes,
of course.
Yes, yes.
But tell me a little bit about growing up. I mean, 8 siblings in one house,
Yes.
and, with your parents. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, I think we come from I don't want to say a poor background, but I would say disadvantaged kind of a background. I mean, I used to stay in a shack with my parents and my siblings. It was not an easy thing, and at some point, there were points where one could go to school without shoes here and there because there was no money. Everyone had to be allocated their fair share in terms of, and remember the older ones would go to varsity first and all of those kind of things. So it was quite hard. It was quite hard. But I think coming from that environment, it builds you. It actually gives you a backbone to say, you know what, I know where I come from. And I always say, if some people knew where some of us would be coming from, I don't think they would actually be jealous of us.
Yes.
Yes. Because we come from very, very, very hard conditions where sometimes you would go to school and you don't have any carry for lunch or whatever the case is. So that is the kind of environment that I come from, in a small shack. And I think over time we've managed to actually, thank our parents with the house that we've built for them as well. I think those are some of the places where one of the blessings are coming from. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I'm quite interested. You say, it is the blessing comes from what you've done for your parents. Tell me a little bit about that. Why is that important to you?
I think our parents put us first. They had 6 kids. Everyone has to go to school. And they were quite strict parents as well. So them having put us first, it was a way of saying thank you. You've given us these opportunities in life. You've showed us that you can work from nothing and become something and all of those kind of things. I mean, my mom, she's helped a lot of kids around the community. She was a teacher, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that came through her hands. And then after that, she started an HIV and awareness center and an old age home as well, which is called Garankwa Sunshine Hospice. You could see that she's a community leader. She helps people. So I grew up in that sense, that we could not have bread at home, or the little bread that we have, we could share with someone else who doesn't have. Yeah. So some of these kind of things, they actually show you to say, you know what, you can get someone up by just doing a little bit.
Yes.
You don't even have to have the whole world put to this person, but just a little bit of assistance here and there. Someone is happy with that.
Mike, it sounds like you had a good family, right? And
yes.
Your mom and dad played a strong role where that was concerned. Right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So, I mean, if I think about South Africa and I think about some of the challenges and problems that we have.
Yes.
I mean, the family unit is such an important part of society, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
And if that's broken, then the rest of society kind of just falls down as you go.
Yeah, it does.
So tell me a little bit about your parents and kind of how they shaped your thinking and kind of how you are made up because of them.
My dad is, I call him a no-nonsense kind of a guy.
Yeah.
Get things done the way they're supposed to be done, that's it.
Yeah.
And my mom is the more softer side of things. You can be able to talk to her and all of that because she deals with a lot of people daily and all of that. And I think where we did our story, I mentioned that at some point I was very young when I used to sell fruits at the corner and all of that. And I was surprised that actually when I look back that my dad allowed me to do that. You know what I mean? But within that context, it shows you that I already started entrepreneurship at a very young age.
Very young age, yeah.
And I was taught into this by just saying to me, you know what, you can stand at the corner. We'll try to get you some cabbages, some potatoes, another community used to actually know me.
Yes.
I was solving a problem to say some people can't walk certain distances just to buy fruits and vegetables and all of that. That actually built me and built my character as well. How do you speak to people? If someone is wrong and they are here to say, I've bought this and all of that, how do you deal with this kind of issues and all of that? But that comes from that background that we're talking about to say, my dad was very strict, my mom is also strict, but at the same time, she was trying to push us to say, guys, get into spaces where people don't get. Yeah. As a teacher, they need to be able to teach you that, to say, break the barrier. You know what I mean? Go for something that someone doesn't want to go for. It's not easy. And as she always says, I was speaking to her yesterday as well. It's not easy to get into these spaces, but be determined to do it.
But the encouragement that she provided, right? Yes. Sometimes it can look like hardship.
Yes.
Yes. The story about, selling fruit at the corner. I also, growing up as well, we're selling fruit in the market in Durban.
Yes, yes.
These things can come across as hard things, but actually they teach you such important lessons, right?
Very much so, yes.
If you take those lessons you've learned growing up in those tough situations,
yes.
Sometimes you're not going to have some happy people. How do you deal with it? And then if you drag it into your current life,
yes.
How does that work for you?
I think, Collin, to be honest with you, in life, we all learn as we grow that you can't please everyone. You know what I mean? There are people that are not going to be happy with your success. Some people are going to be telling you that you're not going to make it. Based on the fact that some of them just don't like you, they have a problem. There are people who are negative, by the way, in life.
Some people are just born unhappy, right?
Yes, yes. So I think that's where it drives you and it fuels you to say, whoever thinks negatively about me, you shut that down. And that's the first point of saying, I'm taking charge of my life. I'm taking charge of what I want to do. Because immediately once you start having people's story in your own story, then there's no story to tell. Because now you're telling someone else's story from their own kind of land.
Yes.
You know, so that's how I deal with it. There's a lot of adversity that happens. It depends on how strong you are mentally, and it's not about even intellectually, to be honest with you. Your mental strength is the best thing that you could ever do for yourself.
Mike, I mean, you know, there are so many stories that are in our country, right? I mean, people grow up in townships, in villages, sometimes in posh suburbs, right?
Yes.
But there's a point that comes where decisions need to be made about your future and where you want your life to be going.
That's correct, yes.
It sounds like you understood that very early on. You know, like you knew exactly what you wanted to do, but not really.
Yes.
Maybe just share a little bit about that.
Okay. I mean, we're having this discussion now, and I've been a technician before. You know, I've been a specialist as well from a networking perspective and all of that. But somehow, someway, I knew that I'm going to be a business person. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And what is it that I need to do? First things first, who do you know? How do you connect with these people? How do you sell yourself to them and sell your business to them? You know what I mean? It came from a long way. And I was in an environment where I started learning this business because I was once a subcontractor.
Yeah.
And as a technician, you still have to compare, okay, I'm working for Altron through this company.
Yes.
Okay. Why is that? And you've got Collin who's working for Altron directly.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's getting paid more and all of those kind of things. But for me, it was a learning curve. You need to be able to learn and research what you are in, the environment that you are in. And does that overflow with your goals and with your dreams? I think that's where it came through to say, you know what, I'm going to build a business, and this business is going to be, this kind of business is going to be in ICT and how I want it to be. And trust me, there's a lot of mistakes that I made.
I'm sure. Before we get into those lessons learned, just tell me, how did you, tell me about, you got through school, how did you get into becoming a technician? I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Coming from a disadvantaged family, I came through school. Tsoho High School is one of the best schools in the Northwest at the time. And I think it still is even now. And then I finished my matric and I went to Wits Technikon a while back. My parents couldn't afford actually the fees, you know, and they wanted me to come home, to say, come home. And I said, you know what, I'm not going home. You know, I'm here and I've got dreams, I've got goals. I have to explain that to them. Luckily, I got into a learnership. It was a marketing learnership because I was coming from a marketing background. You know, I used to believe in selling and sell everything.
So marketing, right? I actually didn't know that. I actually didn't know that.
Yes, I did. And I got a learnership into that. As I finished that learnership, and I used to work at a call center, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, I used to work in a call center.
All those customers calling in very upset. Because they don't call you to say, hi, how are you?
Yes.
I'm happy.
Yes, exactly. And then from there, I got a chance to do a course with Siemens.
Yeah.
Where we started going into telecommunications, phones, networking, and all of that. And from Siemens, I think it was wide open now. I moved into Vodacom and I spent a couple of years in Vodacom, actually a lot of years in Vodacom, actually. That's where the wheels started turning. That's where I started to learn the business, because if you look at it, companies like Altron, Vodacom, MTN, and all of those bigger companies, you have to be passionate about the technology that they're giving you. You know, they're showing you new things.
Exactly.
They are showing you new things. And I think that's where I started saying, this is the way I'm going. You know what I mean? And I already knew you guys from a long time, in terms of engagement. And I had so much passion in what I did. And I think that's what fueled me to be able to be where I am today. You know, that passion to say, I need to start a business, what kind of business it is, and how do I go out there into the market?
But tell me, how did this start for you? I mean, starting that business up, I mean, basic things like, you talk about mistakes, right? I mean, cash flow is one of those things where you go,
yes,
I've got to have some money in the bank as a starting point.
Yeah.
Tell me about those early days when you started the business up, and what was it like?
I think I started the business while I was still working. My salary used to pay for the bank account every month. It used to pay for the bank account every month, and it was tough. I mean, for 2 years, the company was...
So this was in what year? What year did you start the
2012.
business? 2012.
but we only started getting work in 2014.
Yeah.
And you can see it's 2 years. That's how it is for a small business.
It's hard grind in the beginning.
It's hard grind in the beginning, yes. So for about 2 years, we've been sending profiles here. And some of the mistakes that you are not even aware of, it's merely as a profile, you know. For someone to give someone a profile that needs to look sharp.
Yeah.
You know, someone has to
Professional.
say, professional and all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
But we take it as a small player, you're thinking, you know, I'm just not going to write a profile.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that.
They must just know.
Yes, yes. And then from there, you start looking into, yes, you can issue out profiles.
Yeah.
How do I set up meetings? With who do I set up meetings?
It's basic things.
Basic things. Those things are the biggest things. Because now they drive you into understanding different kind of industries. Because you can do ICT from an SOE kind of level. They are working differently from there. You can do that with a private company. They're working differently from that.
Yeah.
You can. It's easy for you to maneuver around, let's say, from a private point of view. But how do I deal with this? So it's one of those kind of lessons where you start saying, now I need to be able to know who I deal with, where, and how.
Yeah, got you. So tell me about those early days. I mean, you started up in 2012. You only started to get business in 2014.
Yes.
And then you started to slowly build the business, right?
I started slowly building the business. That's correct. Yes. 2018. That's when we I think that's when we met.
That's when we met. Yes.
Yes. And I think the NDP was part of a good part for us to be able to meet.
Yeah.
And I think Altron said, you know what? No, we're interested in this guy. He seems to be providing the similar kind of services that we are providing.
Yeah.
And that's when I came and pitched for you guys, and I think the pitch went well as well.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still here.
Well, I remember that day vividly.
Yes.
You were like a shining light there, you know. And again, I think your enthusiasm, your your drive, certainly came through in that presentation.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your business as it now progressed since 2018, and kind of what other work are you doing now? How many people do you have? What did you have in 2018 versus what do you have now?
Okay, I think we started off with 7 people. That's when I did actually that presentation, and today I think we've just surpassed the number 28.
Brilliant.
and I think with working with Altron, we're going to get more guys into employment. That's a huge drive for me. And part of the huge drive for that is skills development as well. Because I come from an area where I didn't know anything about technology up until I got out of school.
Yes.
And started to see new things and all of that. And we've been providing services in ICT since, I would say, 2014. But 2018 was the point where we started sort of growing into this market to say, you know what, we are meeting with new people. We are creating these relationships and all of those kind of things. We are being given an ear to come in and say, you know what, this is what we do, this is what we provide.
So Mike, 2018 you started with us, but then we had COVID in between, right?
That's correct, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. That must have been interesting as a small business owner, getting through those dark days.
Yes. Collin, sometimes people don't believe when I say it. And I enjoyed the COVID times.
Yeah?
Not the sickness portion of the COVID times.
Of course.
Yes.
Nobody enjoyed that. Right?
Yes. But from a business point of view, the services that we provide, they're critical skill services. So wherever we're doing work, we still maintain those contracts based on the fact that they were critical services. You have to have people connected all the time. You know what I mean? And ICT, it's across all sectors as well. Everyone was working from home. You need to be connected. You need a headset. There's a whole
in your sweet spot.
That's the sweet spot. Yes,
I think in your sweet spot.
Yes, and I think that's where we enjoyed it more. There were a little bit of some of the contracts that were cut. We lost some revenue here and all of that. But for me, wherever there is a challenge, there's always an opportunity. You know what I mean? You just have to change your mindset and see how you can be able to explore those opportunities. Yes.
Mike, let's switch a little bit. Everyone sees people as business people.
Yes.
You're sitting here as the CEO of Impeco, but there's a human being behind this, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your family. Tell me about what's important to you, the way that you see life, and just tell me a little bit more about your outlook for the future in this country.
I've got 2 children, a boy and a girl, and I'm married. And I think I work with my wife in the business. She helps me a lot. And to be
How
honest,
does it work? Because that's interesting, right? I mean,
yes, it is.
I'm not quite sure I would be able to work with my wife, but I mean, I'm saying this on camera. Never mind.
Yes. No, a lot of people are saying the same thing to me. You know what I mean? In 2011, we lost our first daughter.
Sure.
Right. And it was a painful experience, something that I don't wish anyone would go through. Yes. Now, I needed to support her as well through that phase, because as a mother, it kills you more than it kills me as a father. It's not that I'm not carrying a pain, I am, but now I needed to support her a lot and stuff. And at that point, I had just reached the ceiling from a career point of view. You know what I mean? I had done almost whatever that I wanted to do from that. So I thought, let me start a business. And I sat her down, I said, I want to start a business, I want to leave work and all of that. But I think the fact that you're always preoccupied with what just happened, you know what I mean? We could work together and maybe build this business. Build something. Just to get us off what had just happened. And I think months later, she had a miscarriage as well.
That's tough.
No, that's really tough.
Sure.
Yes. So then I started building the business with her, and there were some skills that she comes with from a financial point of view, and also from an office kind of point of view and all of that. Those are the skills that I needed at the time as well, you know. I cannot be everywhere. I can't split myself into two. Someone needs to do something. And I think from then up until now, we've actually built the support that I get from her. I mean, it's enormous, man.
But tell me, I mean, why do you think it works? Because I mean, I've heard lots of stories of, you know, how these things, they start off great, but you know, you get to a point and it starts to become difficult. But why do you think it works?
Communication is the best key. Communicate and communicate well. Make things clear from the beginning, you know what I mean? And if things don't work out, still communicate to say things are not working out. Maybe we need to move in separate kind of ways, but it needs to be open. It needs to be open and clear. And I think most of the time people don't say what they feel, or they rather hold back what needs to be said.
Avoid the real issue.
And avoid the real issue. If you're not happy with something, Collin, you're not. It's not going to change. You know what's going to happen? You're going to see by your actions.
No, that's true.
And that's when things start turning wrong. Yes.
And not allowing things to just fester before it becomes an issue. Right?
Exactly, yes.
So Mike, I mean, heading into the future now, I mean, thinking about your business, you're 28 people, started from really, you know, difficult times, but where do you see your business going?
Collin, I'm building a business that's more or less going to look like Altron system integration. I'm calling us a mini SI right now. We are a mini system integration. Yes, we have the core businesses from a networking point of view, from a fiber optics point of view and all of that, but we would like to be in a place where we're a $9 billion business. You know what I mean? And that is going to take a whole lot more than what I'm giving in now. I still think that I'm starting to be busy. I thought I was busy actually. But yes, it's tough. But I think having chosen this entrepreneurship journey, you have to be ready for anything. You have to be ready for anything. It's like you're not going to get your next meal tomorrow.
So tell me, I mean, if you're talking to some up-and-coming entrepreneurs now who are just starting out, I mean, what would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
I would say to them, you must keep on knocking. No one will say yes, especially the first times around. People are not comfortable in giving people chances that they don't know, or that they don't have a track record or something of that sort. And another thing is, don't just listen to anybody. People will give you their own kind of experiences, but your experiences are unique to who you are. You know what I mean? My experiences are unique to who I am. So you need to push. You need to make sure that you get into those spaces. And I hear there's a lot of funds challenges, especially when you start a business from scratch like we did. But to be honest with you, those are the kind of issues that build you to be strong. What is it that I can do if I don't have money to be able to get? There's a lot of stuff that's free on the internet lately. There's a lot of material that you can learn on certain things. I mean, I had to go to Wits Business School. I did not think that I needed to, but when I was there, I actually saw that, wow, I needed to be here to learn the admin side of the business. Yes.
So Mike, maybe my last question to you. I mean, we're in this country. I mean, what message do you have for the people of South Africa?
I think there is a lot of uncertainty in terms of where we are as a country. There's a lot of geopolitical issues that we have with the outside world. I think we need to build each other. We've been talking about building the country, which I think we have not done enough. All of us has a role to play to make sure that we build a country that can be safe for our children, that can have skills that are required in the world, and that we can export a whole lot of skills and have our own products that we are actually offering to the outside, to the global world, I would say.
Awesome. Mike, you're an absolute inspiration. Thank you very much for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Really
Colin.
appreciate it, and God bless you on your journey ahead.
Thank you very much, Colin. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.